Welcome back to my series of 120 Agile practice questions. This video is going to be questions 81 to 100. Now, these questions were part of a mock exam for my PMI-ACP certification prep course. You can find the link for that below. But you can also use it for your PMP, since PMP also includes Agile concepts and the Agile mindset. I'm Andrew Ramdial. I am the author of Amazon's best-selling PMP study guide, and I've taught over 600,000 students to pass their exam. Now, these questions will test your knowledge of Agile concepts and the Agile mindset, so make sure you study them before you take it. And if you like content like this, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. It doesn't cost you anything whatsoever, but it does help us out a lot to produce more content like this. And with that, let's get started on these questions. Question. A project team identifies several risks and technical constraints during an iteration that could delay product delivery. The project manager collaborates with the team to brainstorm solutions and to prioritize resolving the most critical issues first. What is the project manager following? Assigning each risk to the individual team members to manage independently, waiting until impediments block progress before addressing them, focusing only on risk identified in the risk register, proactively identifying and prioritizing critical risk and impediments with team inputs. And that's exactly what you're doing here, because that's what the question is telling you. You're working with the team, you're brainstorming solutions, you're resolving things before they start to hit the project. That is what you are doing. This is a proactive approach. You're not just assigning it or waiting for it to happen, or just working on what's in the risk register. You're working with the team to identify and manage risk, making D best answer. Question. A team is preparing for a process improvement workshop to reduce inefficiencies in their delivery cycle. They decide to use a value stream map to assess each step of their workflow and identify where value is added versus where delays or rework occur. What technique are they applying to identify waste? Retrospective data analysis, visualize the end-to-end value flow, Kanban flow limit enforcement, user story mapping. All right, best answer here is B. Now, remember what a value stream does. A value stream shows you the entire process, all the little steps you're taking to follow a particular process. And then you can identify where there's delays or unnecessary steps or waste. But what it does do is that it does give you a visualization from end to end, from beginning to end. And if you don't do it end to end, you wouldn't get much benefit from it. It's not a retrospective. It's not looking at Kanban or story mapping. So the best thing here, remember, retrospective is what you do after a sprint. Kanban is a flow of work, but it has a limit to the work in progress. And story mapping, this is how user stories are mapped into particular features. Making D best answer. Question. During an Agile planning workshop, the team is brainstorming ways to visualize the new user portal. A UX designer suggests creating a quick, low-fidelity representation of the layout that can be adjusted easily as feedback is received. The goal is to clarify a shared understanding of what done looks like and validate design before development begins. What tool are they using? Acceptance criteria, personas profile, wireframes, or the definition of ready. Best answer here. So if they are doing a mock-up, low fidelity representation of layout, of features, if they design in some kind of user interface, that is a wireframe. This is what it's going to look like. It's low fidelity. It doesn't have all the features. It may just be something drawn on a whiteboard with buttons or boxes and things like that. It's not just about user criterias. Acceptance criteria is the requirements they want. This is more to get a shared understanding of what it's going to look like, not necessarily just a requirement. We're not looking at how users interact or who users are. We're not looking at whether this thing is ready to be pushed into production yet. Making C best answer. Question. During a planning session, the Agile team uses brief fictional profiles to better understand user motivation and ensure they're developing valuable features. These profiles are designed to group discussions in real user needs and behaviors. What technique is the team using to help clarify and prioritize features? Personas, user story mapping, wireframes of value, stream mapping. Best answer here, guys, is going to be a persona. So a persona is when you define what type of people, how are they going to use the system, why would they use the system. That's a persona. User story mapping, well, in user story mapping, here you're saying out that this user story maps a particular user or a particular feature. It's not what they're doing here. Wireframe is a mock-up of what the thing will look like. Value stream mapping will show you the steps you're following and if there's any waste. But when you're determining a user, who that person is, you're building a persona of that person. Question: while mentoring a junior project manager transitioning from a traditional environment, the Agile project manager is asked why Agile is often considered more responsive and customer focused. The junior manager is used to delivering everything at the end of the project, following a fixed plan. What should the Agile PM do? Recommend that Agile projects avoid too much planning to encourage spontaneity and innovation. Emphasize that Agile discourages change requests to maintain project control. Clarify that Agile builds the entire product up front, but delivers it in small marketing phases. Explain that Agile delivers in increments, plan continuously welcome changes, and allows customers to see their value. Best answer here, guys, is going to be D. That is correct. So, Agile does deliver an increment, particularly Scrum. It's always planning, you're always welcoming changes, you're seeing customers are seeing value throughout. You just don't build it and then release it in small, I'm not sure what marketing phase are. Emphasize that Agile it doesn't discourage change, it encourages it. And it avoids too much planning to encourage. It doesn't avoid too much planning. I think over time it does a lot of planning. D is a better answer than A, making D correct. Question: a stakeholder expresses concern that written documentation, email updates are not helping them stay informed with project developments. They mention that even video recordings fail to give them clarity they need, leading to misunderstanding and frustration. What should the PM do to improve communication clarity? Schedule a more formal status updates using video recording to reinforce written. Increase the use of face-to-face conversation to improve clarity and engagement. Assign a communication liaison to ensure messages are interpreted correctly. Provide weekly summaries via email with visual progress indicators and actionable items. Best answer here, guys, is going to be, if you remember in the course, face-to-face communication is the best methods of communication. Face-to-face communication allows you to see what people are saying by their visual expression, and not just emails, you can't hear them. And remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Unlike emails, you can even hear them because you have tonality in there. And they can ask follow-up questions better. So it's a more synchronous versus an asynchronous. So the best answer here, guys, is B is definitely better than A. You don't want to just give away the work. Never give away your work. And email, this D is just as good as what they're getting right now, which is no good. They don't like it. So the best thing here to use face-to-face. Question: an Agile team is struggling to keep track of their progress. Stakeholders frequently ask for updates, and developers spend time answering questions instead of focusing on work. The team uses a Kanban, but is often outdated. What should the Agile practitioner do to improve transparency? Schedule daily meetings, status meeting with stakeholders to keep them informed. Help the team set up a routine for maintaining the Kanban with the current data. Switch to using burn-down charts instead of Kanbans into working for the team. Assign team members to manually send updates. Best answer here, guys, is to keep your Kanban board updated. We should have a process in place for keeping our Kanban boards updated. Okay, scheduling a status meeting with stakeholders to keep them informed. This here may or may not give them the tools that they need or the updates that they're looking for. Notice they're frequently asking for updates. if we have a Kanban board that's updated, the team, anybody can look at any time, not just once a day, but 10 times a day if they want, to see whether what's getting done, what's not getting done, because the Kanban will tell you what's in progress, what's not. Burn up and burn down charts, although those are good, it still needs to be maintained. Assign a team member to manually send updates to each day. This can burden the team with more work. Making B, best answer. Question. During a review session, several team members expressed that they don't always feel heard when they raise concern or offer suggestions. Others say they are unsure where to find up-to-date project information. What should the project manager do to strengthen collaboration and information sharing? Schedule recurring one-on-one check-ins to ensure each team member has a chance to speak. Centralize project documentation and share digital workspace and send reminders. Assign a team member as a liaison to give feedback related to the project manager. Promote two-way communication and use visual tools like Kanban and whiteboards for shared understanding. So when you have people, team members notice, says here, they aren't always heard when they raise concern. They're unsure where to find updated information. So the best way to do is to utilize things like a Kanban board, because Kanban board will tell us, hey, what's going on? What's happening on this project? Whiteboards can help people express what is it that they're saying. Notice people said they feel like they're unheard. Make indeed the best answer. You don't want to just do one-on-one check-ins. This is not something with team members with you. It's more like between themselves. It's not, you don't need a one-on-one. Central digital workspace, we prefer low-tech, high-touch. So I would go with D over B. And you just don't want to have one person do it all. You shouldn't have a liaison. You should work with them. Making D best answer. Question. An enterprise is looking to scale its agile practices across multiple large distributed teams and departments. The organization wants a framework that aligns product development, agile software practices, and system thinkings at a company-wide level. What agile approach is most suitable? Crystal, feature-driven development, Kanban, and scale. So this here is going to be for a big project, not something that's smaller, like a Kanban would generally be small, even feature-driven. Crystal, depending on how big the team is, you can have different crystal, but you want something that's more scalable here. You want something that's system thinking, software practices that aligns more with product development. You have a large distributed team and large to do by department. Basically, safe agile or scaled agile is better than crystal in this one, making D best answer. Don't forget to review in the course. We did go through all the different frameworks. Make sure you understand those different frameworks for your tests. Question. During a sprint retrospective, the team has just completed its review of what went well and what could be improved. The product owner is eager to move forward, but notices the team hasn't yet created a plan for incorporating the lesson learned. What should the team do next? Develop an action plan for process improvement to implement to the next sprint. Review the product backlog and reprioritize based on stakeholder input. Begin planning the next sprint to avoid delivery. Ask the product owner to schedule a follow-up meeting to discuss improvements. Best answer here, guys, when you have determined, okay, this is how we're going to fix our process, the next thing here you should be doing is coming up with an action plan to determine, hey, this is how we're going to implement our improvement. Notice they're doing this in a retrospective. Come up with the action plan before moving on from the retrospective. The team should not be reviewing the product and reprioritizing. That's the product owner. They shouldn't just plan the next sprint until they come up with an action plan. And this is something the team does themselves. They don't need the product owner here. Making A best answer. Question. While leading an agile project, the project manager observes that the stakeholders frequently request updates but seem unaware of progress already posted in the project room. What communication tool would best increase visibility and reduce each redundant update request? Schedule weekly presentations to summarize progress for all stakeholders. All right. Set up and maintain clear, visible information radiators such as task boards. Okay, use a group messaging app to share real-time updates. Post visual progress on team member social media platform. Best answer here, guys. Let's go with what I told you in the course. Let's go with low tech, high touch. Let's go with B, something that's highly visible, radiates information. The moment they walk in, they can see the task board, maybe a Kanban board, what they're doing, what they're not doing. You don't want to just do more meetings, and you want to go with low tech, right? Agile promotes low tech. So we don't want that messaging app or the social media platform. Let's go with that low tech, high touch option. Question. During a sprint review, the Agile project manager notices that the team's digital task board hasn't been updated in days. Only one person on the team regularly enters updates while the rest ignores it. As a result, stakeholders are confused about progress and team members seem disengaged. What should the Agile PM do? Assign a team member to update the board to ensure accurate reporting. Replace the tool with a more automated tracking system. Request the product owner to provide a summary of progress at each review. Transition to a physical task board or interactive team whiteboard to promote shared ownership and visibility. Best answer here, guys, is going to be, let's go with something a little bit more low-tech, high-touch here, which is going to be that physical task board. And even if we do go with a digital one, let's make sure everybody has it and it's collective ownership. It's the entire team owns it, not just one person owns it. That's what they have right now. So you don't want to go in and just assign someone. The team should do this, not you. And you don't want to replace it with an automated tracking, more automated tracking system. That's not something you should be doing. You got to work with the team to do this. Request that the product owner doesn't provide summary. That's the team's job. Best answer here, guys, is going to be D. Question. A project manager is facilitating a user story workshop with a diverse group of stakeholders to keep the sessions productive. They engage all participants to contribute within the first few minutes and use a round-robin approach to prevent dominant voice from taking over. What key principles apply here? Focus on continuous improvement, prioritizing stakeholders' influence, enable inclusive collaboration, establish shared ownership. Now, you notice you're using what's called a round robin. So that way you go to you, then there's Bob, then Jane, then Mary, then Peter. So you're going around the room. Everybody is getting a voice. So no one is dominating it. What you're trying to do is you're trying to be inclusive. You don't want to exclude people. You want to bring people together, which would be C. We're not sure about this here, but there's nothing here that says, this is going to be something about continuous improvement or prioritization. Or even shared ownership, they're talking about, hey, people are having a chance to speak because you're trying to keep it productive. You want everyone to participate. So this is collaboration, but you're being inclusive with the collaboration. Making C, best answer. Question. During a sprint retrospective, two developers strongly disagree on how to approach testing in future sprints. Their discussions becomes heated and the rest of the team grows uncomfortable. The Agile project manager is concerned about the tension, but sees that both developers are offering valid viewpoints and they could improve team performance. What should the PM do? Encourage the team to explore both perspectives constructively and facilitate a follow-up. Take over the discussion and make a decision to prevent further arguments. Meet with each developer privately after the retrospective to de-escalate. End the retrospective early to prevent further escalate and plan a cooling off period. Best answer here. Now, in the course, we talked a lot about how conflict is a positive thing, and we want to manage it and facilitate it to ensure it doesn't get out of hand. That's what A is, right? So we want to explore both perspectives. Because you know why? This could really improve. This could really help their valid viewpoints. This can really help the project. We don't want to take over and just choose. We don't want to just stop it or de-escalate it right away. We just want to maintain it. And you don't want to meet the developers just privately. That everybody get a say in this particular one. Making A the best answer. Question. When facilitating a brainstorming session to generate ideas for a new product feature, the project manager encourages the team to shout out thoughts freely without raising hands, awaiting their turn. Although energetic, some quieter team members remain silent and visibly uncomfortable. What facilitation technique would be most effective in encouraging full participation? Continue the free-for-all method to support spontaneity. Can't really pronounce that word. Ask the team to vote on the best ideas immediately. Allow side discussions to encourage informal sharing. Use quiet writing followed by round-robin sharing. So in this one here, you want full participation. So the best way here is round robin. So round robin is where you go around the room and everybody shares ideas. That would be the best option here. Quiet writing is, instead of them shouting out ideas, they write it down on a piece of paper. And then we're going to go around the room and everybody's going to share their ideas. That way everybody participates. Even the ones that remain silent, they have to participate too. You don't want to continue doing the free-for-all because then they wouldn't participate. They're voting. Not everybody gets to speak here. And side discussion, once again, not everybody gets to speak. But in the round robin, they do. Question. During a collaborative workshop, the project manager wants to help the team identify unnecessary or outdated features in the product backlog and encourage creative thinking about future possibilities. The team is asked to present features as branches and remove those that no longer support the vision. What are we doing here? Well, what we're doing here is we are pruning the product tree. So let's draw a tree. Let's draw branches. And then we are going to put all the features and group them up by the branches. And then we're going to prune it by removing things we don't need. That's called prune the product tree. It's not remember the future. This is seeing how well something went. Imagining how something went. These are things here that can stop, sailboat, speedboat. Things here that can stop, can accelerate the project. Wind, or things that rocks that can stop the project. All right. Not looking at how to purchase features here, buy a feature by doing points and so on. This is prune the product tree. It's actually a good example of it. Question. A software team uses a visual board to track the status of tasks through stages like in progress, testing, and done. But they also limit how many items can be in each state to reduce the bottlenecks. What agile method is this? Scrum, Lean, Kanban, or Crystal? Now, you should know this because we talked about this quite a lot so far in these question sets. Kanban is what this is. It says when you have an in-progress column, you have a test in, maybe you have a done, you have things that hasn't been started yet. This is really a good definition of Kanban. Crystal uses different colors of crystal to specify complexity and team size. Lean reduces waste, and Scrum delivers products in increments, utilizing many of the Scrum terms, ceremonies, and processes. Question. A project sponsor asks for a quick summary of how the Agile team is progressing towards completion, how much work remains, and whether the project is on track to finish on time and within budget. The project manager wants to provide objective metric-based insight. What should they do? Use KPIs such as velocity, remaining backlog efforts, project completion dates. Refer to team's most recent retrospective notes to explain current challenges and improvements. Share the iteration burn-up chart to show what has been delivered during the current sprint. Explain the team's agile values and emphasize their commitment to continuous improvement. Best answer here, guys, is going to be, notice they want something more objective, metric-based. Something that's going to be more numerical based. So KPIs such as how many points we did per iteration, or how much items is left, or when certain dates might be, would answer this question best. We don't want to just refer to notes. Those are going to be more subjective. The iteration to show what's been delivered may show one part of it, but A shows more. The team values and their commitment. This is very subjective. You want something more objective, such as a KPI. Making A the best answer. Question. A developer has been unusually quiet during team meetings. The project manager privately checks in and discovers the developer is feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. The project manager listens, acknowledges their emotions, and works with them to adjust their workloads and regains motivation. What soft skills are demonstrated? Emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, active listening or negotiations. Best answer here is emotional intelligence, because they weren't just listening, but they were managing their emotions on what they heard, and then worked with them to regain motivation. So this one here acknowledges their emotions. It's emotional intelligence, not active listening. There's no conflict. There's not like people are fighting here, and they're not coming up with some kind of output where they're doing give and take here, which would be D. Question: during a project review meeting, a team member expressed concerns about delays in completing user stories. The project manager not only listens to the words, but also notices the speaker's body language and tone, responding with empathy and understanding. What type of listening is this? Is this internal, focus, or global? This here would be level 3, listening, correct. Now, level 1 listening is when you're just watching someone and you're thinking, how does this affect me? Level 2, you really start to understand and you start to feel that person's pain. And then level 3 is when you start moving your head. You really can show that you're listening. Your expression changes, your hand movements would be a global listening. So level 3. Reflective listening. Didn't cover that. Not a real thing. Best answer here, C.